The Whitaker family had just moved into their new home, a grand, old house that stood at the edge of a sleepy town. It was a place that felt timeless, like something straight out of an old storybook. The house, built in the late 1800s, had been vacant for years, its weathered stone walls and creaking wooden floors telling tales of forgotten times. The couple, James and Eliza Whitaker, along with their two children, Emma and Noah, were eager to start fresh, away from the noise and stress of city life. They had hoped that the house would be the perfect retreat, a peaceful haven where they could enjoy quiet nights and leisurely mornings. From the moment they stepped inside, the house seemed to welcome them with an eerie silence. The air was thick with dust, and the musty scent of old wood filled every room. The floors creaked beneath their feet, but it was a sound they soon grew accustomed to, as the house seemed to come alive with every step. It was spacious, with tall ceilings and large windows that let in streams of sunlight during the day. But as night fell, the atmosphere changed. The house seemed to exhale, settling into an unsettling quiet, as if the very walls were holding their breath. For the first few days, everything seemed perfectly fine. The family unpacked boxes, set up their furniture, and explored the vast, overgrown garden outside. But as night fell on the fourth evening, something strange began to happen. It started with a faint noise, a soft whispering, barely audible, but enough to make Eliza stop in her tracks. She had been in the kitchen, washing dishes, when she first heard it. At first, she thought it was the wind, but there was no breeze that night. The whispers seemed to come from inside the walls, from somewhere deep within the house. She shook it off, assuming it was her imagination playing tricks on her. After all, moving into a new house could be overwhelming. The following night, however, the whispering grew louder. This time, James was the first to hear it. He had been sitting in the living room, reading a book when the hushed voices reached his ears. They weren't in any particular language, just murmurs, faint and distant. It was almost as if a crowd of people were speaking to one another in the next room, but there was no one there. He immediately got up and searched the house. He checked the windows, the doors, and every room, but there was nothing. No source of the noise. At first, they chalked it up to the house's age. The old timber and shifting foundations could cause sounds that resembled whispers, they reasoned. But the next few nights were worse. Eliza, now on edge, began to hear the whispers too. Every time the family settled down for bed, the voices seemed to grow louder, more distinct. They whispered in the dark corners of the rooms, echoing in the hallways. And sometimes, just as she was about to drift off to sleep, Eliza could swear she heard her name being softly called from the shadows. She would sit up in bed, heart racing, but the room would be empty. Her thoughts raced. Was it the wind again? Was she simply exhausted from the move? One evening, after another restless night, Eliza couldn't take it anymore. She decided to confront the source of the whispers. With a flashlight in hand, she ventured down the long, dark hallway that led to the attic. It had always been a place she avoided. The door to the attic was heavy and old, its hinges creaking every time she passed it.